So 2 pay-per-views that are going to go against each other this Sunday night.
Okay, I'm laughing because there's okay, yes, sure, for the time slot they're going against each other. But okay, who the hell is watching NXT Battleground?
NXT Battleground Saturday night from Lowell, Massachusetts. The first time 2 major promotions will go head-to-head since WrestleMania 5 and WCW's Clash of the Championship 6. In 1989, went head-to-head on at the same time. We heard stories about that back in the day, that Vince McMahon says if you don't air WrestleMania exclusively, or what was it? If you don't air, I think it was Survivor Series was supposed to go up against a pay-per-view in 87, I believe it was, a Clash of the Champions. It might have been Starrcade versus Survivor Series, and he said if you don't air Survivor Series exclusively, then you won't be able to air WrestleMania in the future.
Why can't we just have this TAL Night of Champions?
Say that again?
Why can't we just have it TAL Night of Champions? So, like, Night of Champions is done because they're going to be done probably by 5. Maybe you wait till 7 o'clock Saturday night. So, I mean, yes, you're having one big night of WWE programming versus Sunday, having 2 shows on Sunday night.
Here's what you should do.
Because
here's the thing. Nobody is subscribing to Peacock based on NXT Battleground. Nobody at all. Nobody at all. It's people who already are subscribed, like myself, and who aren't going to watch this. I have it, and I'm not going to watch it. Right? So you already are subscribed, so you're not losing subscribers. SmackDown this past week was already pre-taped at a previous, 2 weeks ago. They did a double SmackDown taping, right? So essentially this week's SmackDown couldn't mean any less because of the fact that they taped it ahead of time, and they also didn't even get another gate for it. Like, it wasn't pre-taped.
I know what you're saying.
At another venue, right? So to have
Friday Night Battleground,
live WWE programming on Friday night, right? And you're not like I said, because SmackDown was taped in a place where they already sold tickets, meaning like you weren't getting any ticket revenue for SmackDown. This week's SmackDown got no extra ticket revenue because it was already people who were in the crowd for the previous SmackDown. So you didn't sell tickets to this week's SmackDown, and this week's SmackDown isn't live. So this is an event where you could sell tickets for it, and it be live, and it be on Fox, which is going to give you way better ratings.
And it's
more important than this week's SmackDown.
Yes, and it's not competing against Double or Nothing.
Yeah. So
because here we go. I'm just going to put it out there because we already know this is what's going to happen because we know how the internet wrestling community works, especially some of the writers. Not going to mention names. Not going to give them anything. It's here. You're going to see AEW Double or Nothing, monster ratings, and then you're going to see NXT not so great ratings. And then people are going to be like, oh, I guess WWE is down. You're going to see somebody spin that narrative somehow. The fact of the matter is that's not a real thing, but that's what internet wrestling community is going to do.
Yes. I mean, here's the thing. When it comes to this pay-per-view, not a lot of interest when it comes to NXT Battleground on Sunday night and in Lowell, Massachusetts. Lowell, Massachusetts is a great wrestling town back in the day. I don't think they had any pay-per-views, but they used to have a Raw there all the time. I actually just drove past Lowell, Massachusetts just a few days ago.
Maybe I'll watch it the next day. I don't know. Maybe.
Only 6 matches too, so it should be short. But I do like the idea that NXT is leaving, Florida and starting to explore. Obviously, they were just in LA. Now they're doing this thing on their own on Sunday night. Shawn Michaels said had nothing to do with AEW. I don't buy that. I think the idea is that yes, no one's watching NXT, but at least the people who are watching NXT will not be watching AEW. That's the idea. You're just taking away a few people from AEW.
Well, here's the thing. To be fair, though, the card's not. I mean, there's a couple matches I'd like to see. Like I do want to see Carmelo Hayes and Braun Breaker. That's always. I mean, that
championship rematch.
Yeah, I think that's
and I think the last man standing match versus Dragunov and Dijak, which we were talking about in our last segment, formerly of formerly of Retribution.
Yep.
I mean, that should be a good match as well. The vacant women's championship. This kind of shows you how important the women's championship is. They vacated it because the women's champions.
What is it? Lyra Valkyria versus Tiffany Stratton. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that's where I'm at. No offense, I'm sure they're great, but I follow NXT.
I would have rather seen Roxanne Perez versus Cora Jade. That's just my eyes.
Yeah, I would too.
I mean, to be honest, the NXT. Here's the thing about NXT. If I lived in Lowell, Massachusetts, I would be going to this pay-per-view because going to things is fun, and the tickets, obviously, of all things, I don't know if you know this, but NXT has been sinking, and the prices are. If you're looking for a way to save money in 2023 with everything going up and WWE tickets skyrocketing, NXT tickets are doing the opposite. You can get in the door for like $10
and you'll
at
probably
this show.
have a good night.
Yeah, you can get. It's a small arena. You can get in for $10. I think floor seats are like $50.
You're going to see a good night of action. I mean, there's going to be some good action there. I'm not trying to,
But if you are at home watching television and most likely pay-per-view television, you're probably watching AEW Double or Nothing, even though this is probably one of the least hyped up AEW pay-per-views in their history.
But it's a hell of a card.
Well, you say that about every AEW pay-per-view.
It is a hell of a but it's a good card.
It is a good card, but overall, just the hype. AEW right now is just, everyone goes through hills and valleys, and I'm not saying that, AEW is immune from that, because they're not, and they're going through a valley right now. I'm sure that valley is probably still a pretty good valley. We talked about it back in the day. Bob Costa said to Vince McMahon that their pay-per-view numbers, even though your pay-per-view numbers are down, they're still head and shoulders above many other people's pay-per-view numbers. They're just down for your standard. So AEW right now is down for AEW standard, in the sense that this championship match with MJF and Sammy Guevara and Jungle Boy and Darby Allin, people think that this is kind of a throwaway. They don't feel that MJF is losing the belt in this AEW World Title match. I mean, AEW, that's what they do. They put on 5-star matches. We get it. I'm looking from a storyline perspective. I know it's difficult in the AEW world to not just look at things as like 30-minute long matches and a 5-hour long pay-per-view, where every match is like an Iron Man match.
So you don't see FTR and Jeff Jarrett, FTR versus Jarrett and Lethal. You don't think that's going to be a good story? I think that'll be a good story.
I think that's a decent story.
And you got Briscoe as their special guest
Wardlow
referee.
and Christian Cage in that ladder match for the TNT Championship. That's interesting. Obviously, with Christian Cage, kind of resurrecting his career, coming from the sidelines to being, more in-ring action.
Okay, I got my match right there. Battle of the Blackpool Combat Club versus the Elite, the Anarchy in the Arena. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's another one of those Anarchy in the Arena matches. You've seen that before.
That'll be fun. I think it's going to be fun. I like the participants in the match. There's enough storyline there going on, so I'm good with that. Adam Cole, Chris Jericho. I don't know. I like both guys, but I mean, what am I saying?
So NXT is starting at 8:00, and this pay-per-view is all starting 8:00 Eastern time, right? If NXT would have started at 6:00. Or let's just say 7:00, because I feel like NXT is going to be like a 2-hour pay-per-view. And I feel like AEW is going to be like a 4.5-hour pay-per-view.
That's why maybe Town Night of Champions. I don't know.
Or like just have one at 6 and boom, that'd be over with. Maybe they are kind of going against each other for like a match. But listen, obviously the fact is NXT is going to still be over with well in advance of AEW. I feel like AEW is going to be half over with when NXT is over with. Just because 9 matches, we just saw, and WWE's putting on a 7-match pay-per-view, and they don't do every match 30 minutes, right? AEW, they should have 4 or 5 match pay-per-view cards. I get it, they don't have pay-per-views all the time, but 4 or 5 match pay-per-view cards, because every single match they give 20 minutes to. Every match.
Yeah, it's going to be like a 5-hour show. So
every single match is a 20-minute match, at least. Some matches on here are going to go 40.
I have to ask you.
5 matches.
While we're talking about this card, what are your thoughts on the Hardy Party? Like, if Hardy Party wins, Matt Hardy will own the Ethan Page's contract. But like, how do you like that as a stipulation? Because to me, that's a little weird.
I mean, this is Jeff Hardy. This is his return, right, to AEW?
Well, return match?
Yeah, because remember, he's obviously, back from his
hiatus.
And they haven't had a pay-per-view since March, so
yeah, I think this is.
I don't really, I mean,
how's the point of that contract thing? I don't I get like Matt Hardy's supposed to be like this genius of like contracts and stuff. I get that, but I'm like, to me it's like you're just throwing a stipulation to throw a stipulation in a match. I don't know, it's just kind of weird.
Again, that's a storyline that just doesn't appeal, I guess.
No, it doesn't.
Adam Cole, Chris Jericho should be entertaining. I think I'll look at that match the most. If I had to pick some match, I had to pick 4 or 5 matches to watch in this card. Probably Adam Cole and Chris Jericho. Probably, obviously, the MJF World Title match. Probably the FTR Tag Team Championship match.
Wardlow and Christian will be good.
Wardlow and Christian should be good. The Blackjack Battle Royal.
I could care less.
It's interesting to see, who some of the TBD competitors are going to be in this.
Yeah, but to me, like, it's kind of, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be Orange Cassidy winning.
Yeah, and this isn't.
That's all. It's predictable, I feel like.
And it's funny because I was just talking before we got in here about, because was this MJF's big coming out party last year when he won the casino ladder match, and I was like trying to think, wait, was that at All In, or was it Double or Nothing? Because the whole idea of when this pay-per-view first started, this was the inaugural pay-per-view for AEW back in 2019, and had all the casino tie-ins. But now they use that casino chip thing in multiple pay-per-views. They have all these gambling tie-ins, All In, All Out.
Double or nothing.
Yeah, like they so much so it's hard to keep track.
Blackjack battle. I do like the fact that it's
Blackjack
21.
Battle Royal.
But
yeah.
I like it though. It's 21, and obviously, if you're a blackjack fan, you know what.
But
that
they don't
means.
just keep
cool.
it for Double or Nothing. That's the thing. They have these casino ladder matches
They do.
at Revolution.
They do.
Yeah. That's why it's hard to I remember MJF winning the big casino chip, as the Joker, and then coming out later in the night. I remember that, but do I remember it for Double or Nothing? I don't remember it for Double or Nothing because I can't now tie in that big casino chip as in just a Las Vegas thing only.
They just tie it in weird. But you know what though? AEW, sometimes the storylines are kind of meh. We have seen some decent ones lately, especially with the whole Kenny Omega situation with Callis, like that. Like that's been cool. Like that. Don't get me wrong, AEW has really good matches, but sometimes the storylines can be kind of meh. It's to me, AEW is...
Yeah, I think that Ethan Page and the Guns versus the Hardy Party, that could be off the card. That'd be a great... Because that's the thing here. AEW has good pay-per-views, but they also treat their Dynamites like pay-per-views.
Yeah, this could be on Dynamite.
So there's no thing of that's too big for Dynamite. Nothing's too big for Dynamite. They have 20-minute cage matches 40-minute cage matches between Moxley and Omega on Dynamites. So, there's no real reason for their pay-per-views to be this excessively long.
Yeah, they could have taken this down to they could have shortened it down to 7 matches and been good.
Yeah, because that Battle Royal, it's for the AEW International Championship. That's probably going to be 30 minutes.
You could have done the Battle Royal on Dynamite. Really, they've done these type of battle royals before, so you could have here you go. You could take that match
because it's in Vegas. So to tie in the Dynamite being in Vegas, you could have similar to what they do for WrestleMania, how the SmackDown the night before WrestleMania is like WrestleMania SmackDown, and they have the Andre the Giant Battle Royal and good stuff like that.
Yep.
You can kind of tie in the fact that you're at the MGM for Dynamite this week with some Double or Nothing, I guess, prelim matches that just didn't make the card for the actual pay-per-view event.
You could.
But either way, I think they were saying, overall, the reason, AEW tickets have been down a little bit. Now, granted, in Wembley, they're going to draw probably 70,000 people. Ticket sales for that have been strong.
Yeah, but UK is a great base for wrestling, so I'm not.
But other than that,
surprised.
they've been struggling, and I'm very curious to see with Collision having another television show each week.
Yeah, very what was it, TNT Nitro look to it,
Yes.
I saw Eric Bischoff on Twitter kind of make a kind of
I mean, obviously it's not even a subtle hint, right? It is what it is.
Yeah. I'm looking at him so they just stole this from the 90s, right? What are we doing here?
I mean, if that gets them more butts in the seats, the whole first month of the tour the first month of the show is in Canada. They literally are in Toronto, they're in Saskatoon. They're in Calgary.
You ever been to Saskatoon?
I've never been to Saskatoon. But they're in
probably a beautiful place.
Yeah, they're in all. I don't think so.
No?
It's in the prairie. You're thinking more of West Coast. It's in the Midwest.
Yeah, I was gonna say. If anybody knows
maybe
Canada,
maybe it's a beautiful place. I mean, everything's got something going on, and sure, I'd love to visit someday. But it's in more of the flatlands.
Oh, okay.
Part.
If anyone wants to know anything about Canada, here's your guy.
That is not where Saskatchewan Rough Riders play, in case you were wondering. They play in Regina, which is not Saskatoon. It's a different city.
Okay.
When you watch the Saskatchewan Rough Riders, you'll know that they don't play in Saskatoon.
They play in Regina.
Yes.
Got it.
So you got that figured out.
Fun fact for the show, everybody.
But and we're going to find out this week where the first show is. Is it going to be at the United Center for CM Punk to return?
Yeah, okay. I don't think that's happening.
I would wish this pay-per-view to be a little bit shorter. I'll probably
Give me 7, not 9.
Yeah. The only pay-per-view probably that I'm looking forward to this weekend that I'll be watching in full and probably live, attempt to be watching it live. It is difficult because it is a Saturday afternoon, is the pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia. But either way, Double or Nothing. And you know what? You don't got to wait too long because they got another pay-per-view coming the end of August. So it's like WWE used to be style, where they have one at the end of spring and then they're going to have one again in the summer. And then I think they have 2 pay-per-views back-to-back weeks, if I'm not mistaken. But should be a decent AEW always puts on decent pay-per-views. I'm just very curious to see, how they kind of weather this storm, because like I said, I've heard ticket sales for, this pay-per-view versus obviously Double or Nothing's past have been pretty low. They've been doing some gimmicks, buy 2 tickets, get 2 free, those kind of things.
Hey, how to get butts in the seat, right?
But should be a good pay-per-view either way. I'm interested in watching it. And we'll just see how bad the NXT. I don't even know if they even keep track of the ratings for Peacock. So we'll see, I guess, how bad the ratings are for that. Because I feel like they're going to be real bad. I mean, I'm not watching it.